Before I introduce Katie, I just wanted to say thanks everyone for coming and tuning in today. Uh, we've got lots of interesting things to talk about and to share, so I certainly welcome everyone to unmute yourself, ask a question, interject. This is really a live discussion more than anything. So if you have questions, you can also pop them in the chat box. So it's really up to you. Um, a little bit about Microschools Network. If you haven't heard us or tuned into microschools.com, we are the largest search engine dedicated to microschools all across the world. So we've got almost 500,000 impressions coming in monthly. We've got a lot of different traffic, people that are searching, discovering, understanding the depth and the scope of microschools because there's so many different types, so many different specialities, and it's really blossoming. So we're a great site. We have resources. We're doing webinars like this monthly on best practice. We have events coming up. And so certainly come and check out microschools.com, list your school if you haven't done so. Um, it's a great place for free visibility, which is essentially what we're talking about today with Miss Kaity Broadbent. And Kaity Broadbent is the Chief Empowerment Advocate at Prenda. So if you know anything about Prenda, it's been wildly expanding all across the US and Canada. And this is really in part to Katie's work. And I mean, of course, there's other people as well too, but Katie is really a multifaceted person in terms of education, social media marketing, and a lot of other things. So you should also tune into her podcast. She's got podcasts that she was just saying she wrapped up season 2. So there's a lot of great content there too. So I'll let you take it from there, Katie, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much. I'm super excited to be here and to share with you guys. I just love our micro school community and how diverse and welcoming it is, and I'm just so happy to be here. So, like Whitney said, I'm Kaity Broadbent. I'm head of marketing for Prenda, and I also, for years and years, was head of learning, so helped develop our micro school approach to learning. That all, like we take all the things that are happening in homeschool, the things that are happening in traditional school, and you try to put them into a micro school, and sometimes they don't work exactly well. So we've had to kind of clean sheet a lot of things and just make things that work for micro schools. So if you don't know what Prenda is, we are a micro school support company. We build micro school curriculum. We help you set your micro school up, deal with logistics, marketing, and invoicing, back-end payment services, and stuff like that. So everything you need to run a micro school, 90% of it we will do for you. So we are removing a lot of those barriers to a person who thinks oh, maybe I'll start a school, but there's 100 things in their way or 1,000 things in their way if you tried it before. And so our goal is just remove 90% of those things to decrease the barrier to entry. So that more and more people can start micro schools. So it truly becomes like an organic grassroots movement instead of something that happens from the top down. Okay, so today we're talking about social media marketing. If you want to follow us on any platform, but mostly just Instagram, is where I'm going to focus today, and that's where I focus a lot of my social media marketing time. So it's in the bottom right there at PrendaLearn. You can steal any of our ideas. You can copy us. We're just trying to set a good to make microschooling look cool. And to create this niche, for microschooling because it's very new. People don't know what a microschool is, and we really need to show and tell what it is and why we do it, right? So that's what I'm trying to do on the Prenda account. But today, we're actually just going to talk about how you can use social media to connect with your local community and actually enroll kids into your school. So we're not really talking about building a big followership or thought leadership or anything. We're really just helping you recruit kids through social media marketing. So with that, we're going to cover 4 different things. We're going to help you choose a platform. We're going to go over a few social media myths. And then I'm going to actually walk you through how to get started step by step. And if you have some social media experience and you have some marketing experience, you honestly might be bored. This is really for the beginner. And this is the level of instruction that I needed when I was getting started. So I'm okay, well, this is maybe where other people are. And I'm hoping that just starting very what buttons do you click to do this, will really help us because we're educators. Some of us are entrepreneurs. We're not marketing people typically. So just knowing how all these things work can be intimidating. And I'm hoping to kind of like cross those bridges with you today so that you can really feel confident. Um, okay, so, and then we're going to talk about building a funnel. So I'll explain what that is in a little bit. But first, let's talk about choosing a platform. Okay. These are all of the most popular social media platforms, and like the percentage of adults in the US who say they use this platform, right? You can also go look at how many billions of monthly users these platforms have, and it's roughly the same. Um, this comes from Social Sprout Social, which is a company that helps people integrate into social media land. So you can see that YouTube is like by far the thing that people use the most, then Facebook, and then way down here we have Instagram, and then way down here there's Pinterest, and then TikTok. And we hear a lot of talk about TikTok, right? TikTok this, TikTok that, but it's like actually like really far down on as like actual users go, really far down the list.
Yeah, that looks
And
like
just a
it's
reminder
less
that
than
both Facebook and Instagram are
30%.
owned by Meta. So when you work with one, it's very easy to also work with the other. And a few things about YouTube, all these things have different pros and cons depending on what you want to accomplish, right? YouTube is really great for like educating about ideas. There's lots of like long form content um, on YouTube. It's not great for like connecting with friends or like building relationships or like having conversations with people, right? It's like a one to many broadcasting system. Um, Facebook is really great for building communities and building relationships. Same thing with Instagram. Those two are really strong. If that's what our goal is, right? Pinterest, like not really, that doesn't have anything to do with building communities, but it has become kind of like a modern search engine. Excuse me. So you can put your content on Pinterest and people will find it and they will find you, possible. And then TikTok, very similar to Instagram, just very popular in the news, not actually amazingly popular when you look at the numbers. And especially it depends on who you're trying to reach. Okay. So take a snapshot of that. And Whitney will send you these slides. I think, can we send these slides out? And then I also made you a toolkit where I've like bullet pointed all of this stuff. So I'll show you that in a minute too.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
I'll send that out tomorrow with a recording.
oh, perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, so you want to ask yourself, who is my audience? Okay, who am I trying to attract? It's usually going to be parents because hopefully, I mean, you never know these days, but hopefully we're not talking to kids on social media, right? They should be outside playing in the dirt, not on phones. Um, so you want to think like, who is my audience? If I only serve K through 2 kids, this is the age range of those kids. And that means that their parents are probably between the ages of 29 to 39. If we look at when they had their first child, they could be older if this is their fifth child, right? They could have older kids too, but we just are as a benchmark looking at when they had their first child, right? So you'll see if you run a high school program that you're going to be advertising to people that are a little older. And you want to have that in mind, right? Because how they communicate and where they communicate changes drastically based on what generation they're falling into, right? Okay, so here is where these different age groups find community and find information, right? So you can see Facebook pretty high in all of these middle categories, moderate in the 50 and over. These folks just like they're not digital natives, right? Like they've had to come on board later. So you'll find fewer and fewer people in that age range that are on social media at all. That's why this gets a moderate and then lows across the board. Okay, but if we see these are our little kid parents, they are on Facebook, they are on Instagram, and they're starting to be on TikTok, right? The younger you are, the more likely you are to be on TikTok, right? So if you know, like, oh, I am only serving K2 kids and we have a preschool program, like I should probably get into TikTok, right? But if you're not there, you can pretty much just stay in Facebook, Instagram land and hit a lot of people. And those are connected. So it's like, as soon as I post this on Instagram, it's also posted on Facebook. So it's like twice as much coverage for my same amount of effort. So that's a good thing to know. Over here, we've got X, formerly Twitter. As far as like parents go, like parents are not on X looking for schools. Like it's if you are like a political something or like a thought leader, you could use Twitter, but like your mom is not scrolling Twitter like I mean, my mom's not, but the moms of your potential kids are not scrolling Twitter at the park, right? Like they're scrolling Instagram, they're scrolling TikTok. So that's where their eyeballs are. That's where you want to meet them. Um, and again, you'll get this slide. So yes, you can reference this later. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend based on this that we talk mostly about Facebook and Instagram. And since it's kind of one for one, I'll talk about Facebook a little bit. I'm gonna focus on Instagram because it's like in the middle and it's very similar to TikTok. So if you are gonna go to TikTok, a lot of what we talk about on Instagram will just transfer directly. And then it'll also, it's just a good middle ground. So we'll spend most of our time today talking about Instagram. It's the one that I recommend the most if you are trying to like, I mean, would I say that? Facebook is also really important, so kind of a tech, but up to you. We're going to talk about Instagram today. Okay, so that's choosing platform. Next up, we're going to talk about some social media myths because I feel like a lot of the time our ideas actually stop us from doing the things that we need to do the most, right? If I believe if I post this on Instagram, no one's going to see it, or like the algorithm, fill in the blank, will never show this to anyone. Like, we believe these things, so then we don't do anything, and nothing good can come from inaction, right? We have to start from a place of hope. And I'm going to bust these myths and we're going to give you a little bit of hope, okay? So, myth number one is that you have to have a big following for social media to work for you. This is maybe how social media worked 5, 7 years ago, but actually, they have started changing the algorithm to promote smaller creators, smaller accounts, to show your content to a wider audience. So I'm just going to kind of here's the myth. The algorithm will show your content to non-followers. So we're going to take like 30-second bird walk and talk about what the algorithm even is. Okay, let's understand how these social media platforms even work. So the way that Instagram makes money is by showing eyeballs ads. Okay, so every so often when you are scrolling, right, on Instagram, you'll see an ad. You usually scroll right past it, but your eyeball still saw it. There was maybe a brand impression there. Maybe it caught your eye and you watched the whole thing. Maybe it really caught your eye and you clicked on the little learn more button, right? And it took you to someone's website. Um, that that is Instagram's job, to keep as many billions of eyeballs on that little screen for as long as possible. And so Instagram is looking for content like a video or a picture that you would post that keeps eyeballs on Instagram. So if I post something and it's really engaging or very, very visually stimulating or very educational or very inspiring, it makes me feel something, I'm going to watch that for a long time. And all of those seconds that my eyeballs are on that one video is giving the algorithm information. It's saying, hey, we've found a piece of content that holds eyeballs. That's gold to Instagram. So they're just at any time that someone posts a video, the algorithm's job is to decide if that thing is good at keeping eyeballs or not good at keeping eyeballs. Okay, so if you create a piece of content and it's good at keeping eyeballs and you have 10 followers, the algorithm doesn't even care. It's like, great, I can use this piece of gold that I found to keep eyeballs on Instagram. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to show this to thousands of people because if it's keeping the eyeballs on there, if people are interested in this, I'm going to show it and show it and show it. So you don't really need to know this, but I just think it's interesting. This is how things go viral. Essentially, it's like someone posts something and Instagram shows it to a bucket of that person's followers. Okay. So if the followers are like eyeballs on, I watched this, maybe I watched it 2 or 3 times. I shared it. I commented on it. Like I was really engaging with this post. That signals the algorithm, this post is good. So then it's going to be like, okay, you passed bucket number 1. And here now I'm going to keep showing it to followers and see if it keeps doing well. But also I'm going to show it to a bucket of non-followers. People have never heard of you, but maybe are in your niche. Maybe they're also interested in education. Maybe they're also interested in parenting. Maybe they follow people who homeschool or, they're in this world. The algorithm has that information. So it knows there's a high likelihood that if I show this piece of content that's holding the eyeballs of people in that niche to people who are in that niche but don't know about your brand or your school or whatever, then it's probably going to hold their attention too, right? So it will show it to non-followers. If it does really well there's still lots of engagement, lots of shares. This is funny, this is educational, this is inspiring. It will show it to a bigger bucket of non-followers. And it keeps going and keeps going until it has millions of views. And that's how something goes viral. Good to know, not our goal. Not our goal at all. You do not need to worry at all about creating a viral post because our goal is to connect with our local community. But it's helpful to understand when you're creating content what the computer is looking for. So that's why I kind of like paint that big picture for you because it's good to know. But you
Katie,
do not need, back to myth number one, you do not need to have a big following for the algorithm to show your content, your school, your page, whatever, to people who don't know about you.
Katie,
Myth
can I
number two.
stop you right there
Yeah,
just for a
yeah, go
second?
ahead.
Maybe you're going to talk about it later, but would you share with us a few examples of maybe your posts or videos
Yes,
or reels that really got a lot of engagement? Because I know that was something that people had been asking about when they had signed up.
for sure. Yeah, let's do that at the end. I'm going to walk through a full example. And then if we want to, like, if I can take you through the Prenda feed and show you some of the analytics and things like that, we can totally add that on.
That's great.
Okay, myth number two, you have to have a certain personality to be on social. You see these like bubbly kids, they're on social and they're like so peppy and they have that like kind of like YouTube talk, like it's just like a manner of speaking kind of. You do not need to be like that. You need to be yourself because you are trying to attract a like-minded community of people who know, like, and trust you, right? If you show up like someone else, they're gonna be like, I would never put my 5-year-old with that kid, like with that person that's like acting like you don't want to be that, right? Yeah, they get lots of views, but that is not the goal. The goal is to attract people who you will serve well, right? So that they can build a relationship with you and that you can end up serving them in your school. So be yourself, truly, truly be yourself. Be goofy, be silly. It does not have to be very polished. Flip your camera around, be very natural. Like the algorithm likes authenticity because humans like authenticity. I don't want to watch there are some accounts that I follow, and I actually like, as soon as I see them, I kind of get this pit in my stomach because while it looks amazing, it immediately makes me feel like that's not me, like I'm not that polished, right? So this is me scrolling BTF. That's what that means. I just scroll past that. But if someone's like no makeup, like in their garden, I'm like, oh, this might be my girl, right? Like I am interested in this. You have my attention, which took courage for that other mom to be like, I'm going to show you the real me, right? That took courage. And that's who I want to follow. That's who I want to connect with. That's who I want to trust with my kids, someone who I can really like relate to, right? So you want to be yourself. And many different types of people do really well on Instagram because there are many types of people consuming Instagram content and they are very unique. So you want to find your people, you don't need to be for everyone. Okay, myth three, you have to be 100% dedicated to posting consistently and like really working this. Heavens to Betsy's, no. You are running a micro school. That is your thing that you are doing. You are pouring into those kids. You are looking at curriculum. You are dealing with a whole host of logistical issues. Like you got to be boots on the ground, like super focused on that. So social media cannot be like the new thing that takes over your life, right? Like it is my full-time job at Prenda to make social media for Prenda, and it takes every ounce of energy and it can run away with you. It can get really overwhelming really fast. So just know when you're going into this, I am not like I all I'm doing is trying to build a professional presence for my business. I'm not trying to build a big following. Like I don't need 1,000 like millions of views. Like just like bring it down. We're going to talk about goals in a minute too to get clear on what you're trying to accomplish here. But you really don't need to be posting consistently to still have a professional presence to connect with people in your community. Um, so there we go. A simple professional presence is adequate. Okay, so totally doable. Myth four, it's expensive to advertise on social media platforms. It's actually just not. That's a pretty simple answer. Depending on your budget and what expensive means to you, we're going to walk through an example and I'll show you what I would recommend spending. But it's really is accessible to the average person. Okay, any questions on any of these myths or anything that I said? Can we just like pause? We still feeling good? Okay.
I think you brought up so many excellent points, and I love especially the authenticity, right? Because I think I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, we all wanted like really polished view books, and that was like really big, like all the sort of things. And we've moved away from that. And I think we'll move even more towards that with AI, right? Because now we're starting to really recognize like this was made by AI, this is an AI script, like, and then
Mhm.
it doesn't sound like a human. I'm not that interested, right? So I think it's
Yeah.
only going to become more and more important for authenticity to shine through.
Yeah, 100%. And just again, like it does take courage to be your authentic self. But I mean, courage is what it's all about, right? We're gonna do hard things. We are the men and women in the arena.
That's right. Well, I think you wouldn't have courage unless you were a micro school owner, right? That's something that you have to have in order to
Yes.
go against the grain, to be an entrepreneur. Ben asked a question. You may get to this, but how often should a micro school be posting? I feel guilty when I miss a few days.
I mean, I would say once a week, honestly.
That's what I've always thought. Once a week
Yeah.
is, as long as that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're running a school and like the more you post on Instagram, like the easier it will get. It'll be like, oh, we're out doing something awesome. 4 second clip, quote I like very simple. It doesn't have to take over my life. Then you can definitely post. But if it's like stressing you out, I would say post less. Like you are running a school that has to remain your focus, right? Um, so yeah, whatever is not stressful. That's my actual recommendation. But yeah, once a week is plenty. Okay, ready to move on?
let's go.
Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to talk about getting started. We've mentioned a few of these goals, but just so we can get like super, super clear on this, your goal is to help people learn about your micro school. It's to build trust with your community, your local community, literally people who could drive to your school, and to connect with local potential parents. And just what your goal is not, it's not to build a big social media following. You do not need thousands and thousands of followers. You do not need this to take over your life. Just keep these simple goals at the forefront of your mind, and this will be an effective tool for you in your business. And it will also be like a source of happiness and joy to you because it really is so fun. You put so much effort into what you do in your school. To capture that and document and share it is like really, it can be very joyful, right? So if you notice it getting stressful, maybe you've lost sight of some of these goals. If you notice like, oh, this is very joyful, like that's great. Lean into that. Um, okay. So we're gonna do a little Instagram setup tips. Most of you probably have personal Instagram accounts. You've set up an account before, but this is like for the total newbie, or if you're setting up a new account for your business. Um, I'm just gonna go through some tips, and I'm just actually gonna click over here to just show you real quick. You will get this in the mail. Not in the mail. I'm not gonna mail it to you. In the email that Whitney sends. Grow your micro school on social media. Okay, this is like a lot of the things we've talked about. We're going to talk about all this, but then here are detailed. Like if you want to create a page, here's the click through what you need to do on Facebook. Here's a click through of what you need to do on Instagram. Here's a click through for TikTok. Okay, so don't feel stressed like you have to write all these button clicks down. Um, we're going to give that to you.
That's so great. What a great resource.
Yes, and just it's just helpful to know like, oh, am I clicking the right buttons? It's like, yes, you're clicking the right buttons. Just I want you to be able to do this with confidence and not second guess yourself. So, some quick tips here as you're setting up a new account. If you already have an Instagram account, you're going to create a second username off of that same account, so it's all linked, and it goes over that in the toolkit. But just as you're creating this, making an account name that is clear rather than cute. You want to be searchable. More and more people are using social media platforms instead of Google. And so you want your name is searchable and the first 2 lines of your bio is searchable. So if you run a micro school, you want micro school to be in your name or in the first 2 lines of your bio, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, Sometimes we get like overly cute and flowery, and it's like, that's cute, but like, I don't know what you do, right? Like, I don't know what this account is going to do for me. And so clarity is really, really important over cuteness. Honestly, it should just be the name of your school. Like, that is the clearest thing you can do. You can maybe add micro school to the end of your name or whatever you want to do there so it's clear. Your picture. Your picture is super, super important. And people just kind of like take random selfies or like it just like looks kind of like, well, I don't know if I'd want to send my kid to that person. You know, like you have to have a professional presence. So I recommend that your picture is either a picture of you where you can see your eyes and your bright smile, Like you are in the camera, like this is me. You're not wearing sunglasses, like it's not obscured at all. Like you are just fully like there and present. Or if you run a school that has multiple teachers and you're really like, it's not about you, then definitely go with a picture of your school space or just your logo. And actually, we should maybe if we have enough time, like we can tangent into logos. Like logos are really, really fun. Um, and like building a brand, maybe we just do another webinar on that or something.
That's right.
Brand
Katie, can I
like
stop you for a
identity.
second?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had a question about how many accounts do they allow you if you've got your own account, but I think you can have two or three at least. I mean,
Oh, for sure. I don't know if there's a limit, honestly.
yeah, that's
Like,
what I was thinking because I manage three easily. So
yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't hit a limit. I mean, there's probably an actual answer to that. But I've never heard of a
100.
limit and I've never experienced a limit. I think I have 6 accounts
Hmm.
that I manage. So yeah. Okay, so picture super, super important. Bio. You're going to clearly state what you're doing and who you are. And we're going to go over some examples here in a minute. Um, and then links. So these are the 4 things that Instagram asks as you're setting up. So links, you want to link to your website. If you don't have a website, you don't have to put a link. Like this can just serve as your page. But if you do have a link, a website or a link or like a contact form, which we'll talk about when we talk about setting up funnels, maybe it's just like you could put the in the last line of your bio, you could say like reach out or like fill this form out or something if you're interested in enrolling or if you want more information, and then you can do like the pointy down like emojis and it will be pointing to your links. But you're going to want to clean that link up because if you're just making like a Google form or a type form like entry form, that link is going to be really long and ugly, and you just want this bio to look super clean and crisp. So you're just going to take that and you're just going to Google URL shortener free and just pick one of those, throw your link in there. It will give you a nice tiny link. And then you can put that in there and it will just look a little bit more crisp and pulled together for you. Okay, there you go. So once your account is set up, you need to lay a base of content, right? So these are my recommendations for the first 10 posts. So the first one, and this is all in your toolkit, we'll walk through them quickly. Your first one is going to be like the name of your school with your logo or a picture, and a caption with basic info. Hi, we're blah, blah, blah micro school or whatever you call yourself. We run a K through 5 micro school in Tampa, Florida, or wherever you are. Like we care about blah, 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 right? Like a little spiel about who you are and what you're doing. And that can just be a picture. It doesn't, there also on Instagram, there's 3 main kinds of content: a reel, which is like a video essentially, a post, which can be either a picture and you can put music over it and a caption, or a carousel where they swipe, or a story. Those are kind of like the 3 main things. So when I'm saying these are not stories, these are either posts or reels. And so and I'm going to show you this in a second. Would be too confusing to jump back and forth, but I'll show you the difference between your post feed and your reel feed. Okay, so that's your welcome one. Your origin story. Flip the camera around and tell your origin story. Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm starting a micro school because blah, blah, blah. Or we've been running a micro school for 3 years. Or tell why you started a micro school and what you're doing, right? Let them see your face. Let them get to know you. Problem. What problem are you trying to solve? Do you feel like there's not enough STEM education? Do you feel like literacy is the biggest problem? Do you feel like kids aren't getting enough play? What is the thing that you're trying to write in the world? Talk about that. Your space, give a tour or post some pictures of what your space looks like. What do you believe about learning? Are you a Montessori school? Are you a classical school? Like, talk about your pedagogy a little bit and why you're passionate about that. Down here we have share something you're an expert in. Maybe it is STEM education, maybe it's literacy. What is the thing that you're most passionate about and that you can showcase for 30 seconds? Also, we'll talk about content later, but when I say reel, I'm talking about anything between like 10 and 30 seconds. And Instagram will not promote your posts, usually if they're over 90 seconds. Like you can post up to 3 minutes of a reel, but it's not going to show it to, it's not going to like show it to other people. Most likely, if you don't have a lot of followers, then it's not going to get a lot of engagement. Like it's not gonna get picked up by the algorithm if it's more than 90 seconds. So that's a good like ballpark when you're writing a script or when you're sometimes we just get like a little rambly and it's like, oh, that was 2.5 minutes. Like we got to cut that down, right? Shoot for like 30 seconds, 90 seconds, a minute. Uh, um, I'm gonna like tangent into that because again, like this is another algorithm thing that you need to know how it works. One of the main, right, there's lots of different things that the algorithm's looking at when it's evaluating your post. How many hearts, how many comments, how many shares, how many saves, but the biggest one is watch time. Did they watch 100% of your video? So if my video is 10 seconds long, there's two metrics in there. Instagram knows this holds eyeballs for 10 seconds and 90% of the people that see this watch all 10 seconds of it. So there's two metrics in there that the algorithm's looking at. If my post is 3 minutes long and it's not very engaging, people are going to scroll after 12 seconds or something. So that teaches the algorithm this holds attention for 12 seconds. But if it was 12 seconds out of 15 seconds, I'm not great at percentages. I should have picked easier numbers, but that's like 90% of your watch time, right? They watch 90% of it. But if it's 3 minutes long and they watch 12 seconds, that's very low percentage of watch time, which tells the algorithm this is boring. Don't show this to anyone, right? So you want to keep them short and engaging so that you can get that watch time. That's how the robots know that this is good. Questions on
Katie,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question. What, if you knew? So let's say you have your community and you're doing really well on watch time, under 30 seconds, and but you really haven't gained a lot of followers. Will your content continue to be shown to other people, do you reckon? Or do you think that
Yeah.
let's say that you bomb several videos thereafter and like, you can't tell, but maybe on the back end they know, oh,
Mhm.
people are only watching 10% of this
You
video.
can tell, and I'm going to show you how to tell.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's important to like post something and then you watch like, oh, did that work or did that not work? And then for your next ones, like I'm going to do this other thing that worked a little better. So you're learning every time what works and what flops. And if you have videos that like just don't go anywhere, like not a big deal. Like you could have like almost no views on a video and then one does really well and 2,000 people see it. Like, that happens. And Instagram doesn't really look at how many people follow based off that post to promote or to not promote. That's not a thing it really looks at. It's mostly that watch time and the engagement.
Great.
Okay, so keep it going. Who's it for? Is it a specific grade level, a unique population? Do you serve neurodivergent kids? You want to talk about that? Because everything, so I'm going to finish this and then I'll circle back to another tip. Okay, social proof. Some other person saying a nice thing about you. Literally, like, it does not matter who it is. It could be your mom saying, like, hey, I would trust Kate, like, Katie, blah, blah, blah. Like, just have someone say something nice about you, put it on a nice looking thing and post it, right? It's just that little indicator that, like, oh, there's other people in the world that trust this person. Or a kid, if you're already running your school, like, what do you think about school? Like, quote them and then make a post about it. An action shot, people really love watching kids do hands-on things. Those posts always do way better than like if I flip the camera around and it's my face. Like people want to see what kids are doing organically in your school. So that's great. Okay, and then we've arrived at post number 10, which is going to be, if you follow my advice, a 10-second ad that shows your space, bullets about your school, and your smiling face. And I'm going to show you an example of how to do that. But it's this promo that we're going to then put into something called a funnel. So we'll get to that. But it's important that before we try to promote ourselves on Facebook to get people to come look, that there's this stuff for them to learn and to look about, right? So that we create this kind of like landing page for them to explore once they get there, right? If you had one post that didn't tell anything and then you went and got 2,000 people to get there, you would have wasted all of those eyeballs because they can't learn about you if there's nothing there. So that's why we lay down this foundation of content and then we promote. Okay, so now we'll talk about building funnel. We're going to put it all together in an example too. So just hang tight for that. Okay, so what the heck is a funnel? This is a weird marketing term, but it's very intuitive. We've all used funnels before. They are big at the top, they are tiny at the bottom. That's a funnel. So essentially, when you are creating a marketing funnel, you're going to create a piece of content. That's your first step. And then you're going to try to get lots of eyeballs. It's the the biggest part of the funnel. It's lots of people to see that, right? And in your piece of content, you're going to give a really clear CTA. CTA means call to action. If someone is interested in what you're saying, what should they do to learn more? What's that next step? So if I show this piece of content to 1,000 people, maybe, I don't know, 100 of them will do the CTA, right? And there are all sorts of like industry funnel percentage standards and things like that. We don't need to get into that. Just understand the concept. Lots of eyeballs, a call to action will from those eyeballs kind of cull out uh, the people who are even interested in what you're saying, right? Maybe some people that see your content and you get their eyeballs, they're very happy in their charter school or their public school or something. They're not interested in switching schools right now. Great. I'm glad they're happy. But some of them are going to be, and some of them are going to be so interested in what you're doing that they're going to click a button or do something. We'll talk about good CTAs in a second. They're going to do something. And then that CTA should lead them to some sort of educational content, right? So it could be follow me. It could be DM me and I'll give you more information. It could be go to my website. It could be fill out this interest form and I'll send you an email or something like that, right? So what are they going to do? And then what are you going to do for them to educate them, to give them more information? And then a certain percentage of those people are going to remain interested, right? Like how often do you click on an ad and you're like, oh, that looks interesting. And then you get down into their funnel, right? You go to their website, maybe there's a webinar, maybe there's some sort of more, there's more educational content. And then you're like, oh, I just have enough information to self-select out of that. I don't actually want that, right? So then you get yourself out of that funnel by leaving, right? But people who want to stay in that funnel, who continue to be interested, you should follow up with them. And this will lead to conversation and potentially them enrolling in your school. Okay. So that's generally when you are, if you just think I'm going to make a bunch of content on Instagram and people are going to enroll in my school, it's not going to happen. You have to create a funnel, a flow, a cause and effect like system that gets you to talk to them, gets them in the enrollment form. You have to do that whole thing and you have to make it easy for them. Because even if people are like in a lot of pain and really need your solution, like they're going to get distracted, right? Like as soon as they scroll, there's another ad. It's like they're in a candy store and you have to keep their attention. So just generally understanding this idea is super, super helpful. And I'm going to show you how to build a very simple one through boosting reels on Instagram. So quick note about putting money behind posts. There are two separate categories of doing this. You can run ads on something called Meta Business Suite, where you are a business and you are running very complicated ad algorithms on Facebook and Instagram, and they're showing up on YouTube. Like it's very complicated. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. Maybe if your school was not a micro school and you needed to enroll like 1,000 kids into your school, that would be maybe be a good way to go. But if you need a handful of kids, you do not need to mess with any of that. And Instagram has made it super easy for the normal person to put a little bit of money behind a post to get more eyeballs and to get people into your funnel. And they call this boosting a reel. Okay. So when you post anything, there will be a little blue button at the bottom that says boost. And you can click that and it's going to walk you through this setup. And so we're going to walk through it together. And I'm going to call a few things out that you're going to need. You're going to need three things. A goal. This is essentially your CTA, right? Do you want them to visit your profile? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to message you? Or mix is your other option where you want them to do a mix of those things. I'm highly recommending that you have a website or some form or something that you send to them to, right? If you don't have that, you can absolutely have them message you, but that's just going to be a lot more work for you. But the pro to that is if I send someone to a website, I don't know who they are. And if they message you, then you know who they are. And that's already easier to follow up with them, which is one of our final steps, right? So there's pros and cons. People are just way more likely when they're exploring an idea to do something that doesn't connect them with a real person right away because they're just exploring the idea, right? And let me talk to you is like a very abrasive, aggressive thing to do. So I highly recommend website visit or interest form. And if you can't do those things, which you can, I can show you how to do it. Message use the next best one. The next thing you're going to do is create an audience. There's like an automatic one. Don't do that. Click create your own. I'll show you in a second. You're going to name your audience. You're going to choose a location. You can literally put the address of your school in and pick a radius, like 10 miles. How far away do you think parents would drive to your school, right? And keep in mind that when you set that radius, it's not just people who live in that, it's anyone who crosses into that, right? Like if I'm on my way to work and my phone is in that radius, I'm going to get your ad, right? So it is going to get like expanded, but you want to kind of set that radius. Age and gender. I mostly want to talk to moms. Not that dads don't make decisions about school, but for the vast majority of families, it's the moms that I want to talk to. So I'm going to click female. And we talked about age brackets. I'm going to pick those age brackets, right? And then their interests. What are they interested in? Like maybe they're interested in gardening. Maybe they're interested in education. Maybe they're interested in like Montessori or like whatever education type things. There's a bunch of buttons you can click and keywords you can put in. And then you're gonna have to put in a budget. And I highly recommend starting very small. $30 over 6 days to start is like the general recommendation that I would give. And I'll show you the results of that as an experiment in just a second. But let's jump into looking at an example. So we've talked about funnels, we've talked about content, we've talked about boosting reels, and I'm going to show you, we're going to put it all together. This is so I'm actually running a micro school in the fall called the Wonder League. It's for middle school kids. And I had a few kids from other micro schools come. They're like, we want to be in a micro school. We already do Prenda. And then I had 6 spots that I needed to fill, right? So not 1,000 kids, right? We're micro schools. Like, we really just need to find our niche people. So I'm going to show you an example of how I did this on Instagram, and you can just literally rip me off. Full invite to just copy this or to do something that's more uniquely you, either way. So I posted this little, I don't know, can you hear this sound? Just some music, it's not that important, but it's just pictures. I didn't video anything, I didn't film myself. This is just literally a picture that my sister snapped of me. Like it's not a professional picture, but it's very short and it's just like words like, oh, there's a micro school in Gilbert. I'm in Gilbert. What's a micro school? I have a makerspace. That's cool. And like it's going so fast that the person has to watch it more than once to really get that, right? Which tells the algorithm, wow, everyone's watching this 4 times. That must be a really good ad. Or post, not necessarily an ad, but so this is like the style that I would recommend. It's very catchy, it's very short. You get a lot of information just visually. Then you're gonna write a caption. Welcome to the Wonder League, where middle school isn't terrible. Be yourself. And then I talk about how I'm going to be using Prenda, the grades, other things that we're going to be doing. It's kind of going to be like a makerspace. And then I introduce myself. And these aren't like very, very long paragraphs, right? It's not like, here's my resume. It's just like, here's who I am. I'm being myself. I'm being casual. I'm being friendly. And then 2 things are going to happen here. So I know in my mind, I'm going to boost this reel. And when people see it as a boost, it's going to have a button on the bottom. You've experienced this as ads. It says learn more. It says sign up. There's a button. That means the person has boosted the post or that it's an ad. So I know in my mind when I'm creating this that I'm going to do that. So people who I don't know will see that button. I can count on that as my CTA. I'll show you how to set that up in a second. But this post is also going to live organically on my feed. After my 6 days is over, however long I want to boost this for, it is going to live on my feed. And so in my caption, I have given them some other CTAs for when I know that button is not going to be there anymore. So I've said, if you want more details about the Wonder League, link is in my bio. So I put the link to my website. Actually, Prenda gives you this little like profile page. You don't have to build a website. So this is what I link to. It has a big message Kaity button, like about where it is, information about the school, so that's where I send people. And then, so that link is in my bio. That's one CTA. You can DM me or comment and I can answer questions. And then another CTA that I always add is if you know someone who might be interested, click the airplane button, right? This guy, and share this with them. Right? So I'm asking people specifically, do these things. If you don't specifically call someone to action, the likelihood that they're going to do anything is very low. So be bold, be brave, ask people directly to do what you need them to do. Okay, so that's how I set this up. And then it says boost again for me because I already boosted this post, but it'll just say boost. And I'm going to walk you through these steps real quick. Okay, so what do you want It has some sort of note for me. Okay, thank you. What do you want people to do when they see your ad? What does this sound like? This is our CTA, right? So do you want them to visit your profile, your website, or message you, right? So if you are going to click website, you click edit, and then you put your link in there. And then you get to choose what your button says. Learn more, shop now. I would never say shop now, so learn more is a good one. Watch more if I was sending them to like a webinar or something, contact me, sign up. Those are your options. So I would click learn more. And then I know that when I boost that, it's going to have a button that says learn more that takes them to that website. That's our funnel, right? We made a piece of content and now we're going to boost it to get more eyeballs on it. And when those eyeballs see it, we are going to give them a CTA that's going to take them to that page where they are going to become educated, right? And then if we go back here, here is another CTA button. That's a secondary CTA. It's like, oh, you're really interested? Now you're ready to message me. Okay, so I've qualified all of the people that are like, if you just go straight to message me, you're going to get a bunch of questions, and I'm going to be like telling dozens of people, like, these are my hours. This is where my crossroads are. This is about my house, right? Like, so I'm using this piece of content as kind of like a protection almost for my own time. Because if they know all of these things and they want to message me, like, great. Now they're the people that I'm actually talking to know a lot more about my school. Those conversations are going to be a lot more effective, a lot more rich, and a lot less like repetitive, right? So then this comes to an email, and I just talk to these moms on email. Or I'm like, here's my phone number, like, let's chat. This is what I usually do, actually. Okay. Who do you want to see your ad? This is your suggested audience. So it says you can click this button and it will just, it will automatically suggest people to you. You could try that. Try it. I won't say don't do it. But you can also create your own here. This is, let's see, create your own. So you can put in, you're going to just name it, like whatever your school is, like potential parents or whatever. Location, edit. You can put in regional is just like, I want the whole like south of South Dakota to know about this. Or local, you can put in your address and do a radius. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. You can set a minimum age. Here's your audience suggestions. What are their interests? You can type in anything. And then as you type this in, education. Look at that. So as you continue to do this, it will give you the estimated audience size in your radius. I didn't set the other radius, so it's not actually going to work right now. But it will say, like, if you went with this, there would be 50,000 people in your bucket, right? And it will even tell you if this is too little, too much, or just right. So you're going to play with that until this like little guy up here says, like, this is good, this is green, this is good. Age, gender, right there. That's where that is. And then here's your budget. Those are our three things, right? We did your call to action, your audience, and here's your budget. So I just default to doing $30 over 6 days. I told you it was not expensive. That's $5 a day. And then you just click boost and it'll connect to your credit card and things like that. And it tells you right here, if you spend this much money, here's how many people about you'll reach. And it's like, great, I only need 5 kids, right? So that's a good audience size for me for $30. That's very effective. So if we look at this, I'll show you some of the things like on this account. One, this is not a school account, right? This is my personal professional account. I only have 300 followers. A lot of them know me. They're not like people necessarily who are interested in microschooling. My mom follows me. Like this is like just my organic people, right? But when I ran that ad, I got 4,400 views. So that's
Wow.
proof that you
Great.
do not need followers to get views, right? And I'm going to even show you here. We'll go back to this because this content, let's go back here. Let's card this. Because this content was catching on its own, if I click view insights here and on any reel or any post, you will have a view insights button. Not if you have a personal account, you have to set it up as a business or creator account, which that toolkit walks you through doing. That's how you get your insights. So I can see like these are all of my views, but if I click add, these are just the views that came from the ad. So it separates it for you. Okay. So organically, you can see the difference between that. Organically, I got like 1,400 views just without the ad, which is in and of itself good. But I don't know where those people are, right? It's not my targeted persona or place, right? So the likelihood that a random person is going to be like 5 miles from my house and see that organically is low. That's why we boost to focus the demographic. Um, okay, so, and we can even see this here. So we can see, oh, if I put this on ad, then you can see um, how many engagements it had. So 3 second plays, you have 3 seconds to hook someone's attention. And so if anyone watches this for more than 3 seconds, that's an algorithm nod of like, oh, they passed the hook test. Like this is longer than 3 seconds. So that's how many people really watched it. 70 people went to my profile. So if I had laid out and I didn't, right? So you'll do much better than I will. If I'd laid out those 10 posts carefully, that's 70 eyeballs that are now exploring my posts and seeing like, what is this about? Which is amazing. And then 126 people went to my website. And it tells you even like, look, it costs you 24 cents to send someone to your website. So that is not super expensive. And then it even breaks it down like who saw your ad, location, you can boost it again, whatever. You can play with it. You can post another thing. You can post another thing. You keep playing. Okay. And then from that, Instagram doesn't know this, but I actually, from that message Kaity button, got like 8 emails. And then I started these conversations with these moms, and I only have one more spot in my micro school now. So it's like,
Congratulations.
great, right? I can fill a spot in the next 5 months before August, right? Whatever. So it cost me $30 and I made this in like 10 minutes, right? But because I was careful and intentional about that pathway, that's what led to enrollments, right? If I had just thrown this up there and like hoped, nothing would have happened, right? I would not have given them a path. So that's why building that funnel is so, so important. Okay, questions. I showed you how to, no, wrong thing. Um, we talked about wanting to view insights. So that's that little button on any of your reels. We'll say view insights. You can post that there. You can see your watch time. Let's look at some of the Prenda ones. So here's the Prenda account.
I
And
highly
you can
recommend
see,
people going to the Prenda account. Kaity's got some brilliant ideas, really fun stuff. It's a delight. I always love seeing what you're coming up with.
thank you so much. Yeah, we
It's
work
lots of
hard
good
to like
ideas, lots of good ideas for your own school.
yeah, for content and just like how we talk about micro schools, honestly, like little like I talk a lot about like the research behind why school isn't working necessarily and why we need a different way. So if any of those tidbits are helpful to you, then awesome. So this is our post feed, and you can see here, this is like you guys, you're getting a real behind the scenes look here. So you can see that all of them have this like Prenda kind of blue filter and the name Prenda and like words on 3 lines. Like that's the system here. But if you keep scrolling down, you can see like, oh, we haven't always done that, right? Like that's a new thing that we're looking at because when someone is deciding if they're going to follow you or not, and again with the Prenda account, I have different goals. Like my goal is to build a thought leadership, uh, like followership here on my personal account. Like don't care, I just want to share an idea, right? And for your school, like you do not need 10,000 followers. Like don't do it. It's a terrible headache. Um, but something that they'll look at your feed and see like, oh, do I want to follow this person? The question they're asking themselves is this person gonna consistently do one of 3 things: teach me something, inspire me, or make me laugh. Those are the 3 things people look for in content. So if you can quickly show them, I'm consistently going to deliver that for you, they will follow you. And if your feed looks like this, it's like, I don't really know what you're doing or what I'm signing up for here. If I like this looks messy, but if it's like, oh, you are going to be consistently delivering for me. And I can scan this and be like, oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. Oh, I wonder about this, you know, um, that's going to be helpful too. Okay, so let's look at the reels here. This is your reel speed. Okay, so you can see that some of these, like, the other thing is that just because you have, like, this account has like 8,900 followers, just because you have that many followers does not mean that you will have that many views. Okay, so it does not guarantee you views. So a good reel for us hits above 2,000 views. That's like good. I just launched these ones, so those ones are kind of still cooking, but you can see like if I cover on them, that doesn't help. So like 4,500, 3,600, 2,400, 2,300, 4,000, like those are good reels. So I'm going to be looking at that and be like, oh, what went well about that? So if we click on this one and then we click on, I always do this on my phone. So I like Oh, you know what? I'm logged in as my other account, so I can't view the insights. Only you can see the insights. But it's the same thing here. Like if I clicked back here, back there. Okay. So if I clicked this reel here, then I should be able to click view insights. And then you can see how many followers saw it and see how many non-followers saw it. So you're like, great. And algorithm is doing its thing. That's great. I reached 513 accounts. Of the interactions, most of my interactions are still coming from my followers. Very few non-followers will engage, which is very normal. How many likes, how many comments, how many saves, how many shares. So I can look at this and see like, oh, this is awesome. And on your phone, you can even look at all your reels and say sort by views. And it'll show you your in the last 30 days how many views your reels got. You can be like, hey, these three did awesome. What do they have in common? They all have really strong hooks. I'm delivering an educational content, or like these ones were all funny. You're looking and making those calls to make your next thing. But that really is like next level. Like I'm trying to kind of like build this um, community on Instagram. So if you're just, again, to go back to our goals, trying to connect with people in your community, a clear professional presence, boosting a very informative and fun reel, and building a funnel is going to help you fill your micro school, which was the purpose of our time today. And we'll wrap up. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, get some good ideas at Prenda Learn. We're also at Prenda Learn on every social media platform, but I really only tend to Instagram and Facebook, so no promises. But happy to take questions, or we can wrap up. Back to you, Whitney.
Katie, that was fantastic. So much to think about. And I think even if you're advanced in marketing, you would definitely learn some things from that. So really good info. I'm curious about from the, oh, Ben said thank you as well. I'm curious about like from your, let's say the thought leadership side of things, what are the ones that go really well or the ones that go viral? I remember the one where you had, I wish I was a little bit taller. That one, I saw that one had 75,000. It was such a laugh.
Yeah, funny. Like generally on Instagram, things that are funny and short will go viral. But that's like not, I have to like, anyone could make any one of those pieces of content, right? But like we want to be true to who we are and our purpose, right? So I could like definitely cook up some content that's going to get a lot of views, but then when they come and see like, oh, we talk about microschools and education, I've actually done my account a disservice because I just went attracted a bunch of people who are looking for something that's constantly very funny and kooky, and that's not what I deliver. So
Mhm,
like I can't actually, those people, it's going to get a lot of views and not a lot of follows, right? So if you're trying to build a community, you want to be finding your niche and delivering valuable content to that niche consistently.
mhm, mhm. Oh,
Any
very
other questions?
informative. No, it looks like you've got lots of thanks coming through.
Yeah, I hope it's helpful. And we'll send out that toolkit. So you'll get like a summary and the slides too if you want to review them.
I
Oh,
do, excuse me, I do have a question.
Sure.
Okay, my name is Helen Strickland. I live in Jacksonville, Arkansas, which is outside the capital of Little Rock, about 20 minutes. But at any rate, I have been approved for a micro school. All I know is public schools because I did that for 34 years, but I want to do this. The issue for me is that the students' monies that I'll get will be paid through the state. And so they have to be approved first before they can apply for my school. So I'm having to advertise, apply for the application through the state. Then when you pick the school, pick mine kind of thing. So I didn't
Mhm.
know if you have any suggestions to help me building something off the ground with all these extra things going on.
Yes. So small plug for Prenda. We do handle all of that for you. We interact with the state for you. We handle all of your invoicing. We help your parents learn about that. But if you want to do it on your own, you totally can. I would say you need to attract those parents based on what you're going to offer in your micro school first. And then you can just advertise that as like no out of pocket cost to parents, right?
I
I wouldn't
did
say
that. I did
tuition.
that.
Good,
Okay, I
good, good.
did
Yeah.
that.
And then after you have interested parents, you educate them around like, here's how this works, here's how you apply. And Prenda actually has like, are you clear on those instructions? Or are you kind of getting like lost in all of the how do they apply and all of
No,
that.
I think that everything you said I've done, because I know I have to do everything you said, but my issue is getting the, because they don't, I'm in a community where people don't really know me.
Hmm.
If I was in Little Rock where I worked all those years, they'd be rolling to get into school. But these people in Jacksonville, I'm new to, so I'm trying to figure out how to get them to want to let their sixth through eighth grade kids enroll in my school. I need to do
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would say it's all about like showing them what you can do for their kids and talking to their pain points. So like what is the problem that kids that are going to come to your school, like what are you solving for those families? Do you feel like those families like their kids are academically behind? That's a pain point you could focus on. Are they socially, like are they getting bullied? Are they neurodivergent and their needs aren't being met? Like what is kind of like the problem? Instead of saying like, come to my micro school, say, hey, do your kids hate school? Hey, do your kids like is every morning a fight or something like that? Meet them at their pain point and then show them
Okay.
how you can solve that for them. And then they're interested. You know, you have to kind of pass that 3 second test of like, wait, huh? You have to kind of make them do a double take with the first thing you tell them.
Okay.
And it,
Um,
And another thing, right quick, I'm sorry to take over.
oh, that's okay.
uh, I found a place, but I'm not rich, and I really do need the money per pupil to start paying for the place that
Hmm.
I've chosen. How should I deal with that? I have a place, but I can't advertise it until I start paying the rent there. Is there a way for me to get around that?
There are grants you can get, but if you're trying to start in August, it might be a little late to try to get a grant. You could maybe work out. It's like when you go into like having a relationship with like whoever you're renting from to see if you could like have if you could put a deposit down that you could afford, and then like they'll understand like you'll have tuition, and then they can defer those payments. We've had people do that before. You can ask if you have.
In terms of advertising to the parents, I haven't put the address on there yet. Maybe I need to talk to the person I want to rent from and see if he let me put
Mhm.
the address. Is it important? I would think it would be important for parents to know where it is.
Yeah, and
And
you could just give them a general area. We have people that start Prenda microschools all the time that don't have a location. They're recruiting kids and they just say like
okay,
location TBD or something like that. And it's like really you're converting like no matter what space you're in. I think sometimes there's a hyper focus on like how the space looks. And it's like to kids, like it doesn't really matter how the space looks. That's more of like a romanticized idea that we have as adults. Like, ooh, this looks cool. Kids are like, they're playing in the dirt. Like they don't care. Um, so yeah, we have people recruit kids all of the time on like a location TBD. And actually a lot of the time, it sounds like you've found a location, but when you don't even know, a lot of times like one of the parents will be like, "Oh, I really love you and I want my kids to be with you, and my pastor will let you rent the church from him." Or like, then you have this network of parents who want the school to happen. And so then they're like in the community, like with their ear to the ground, trying to find locations for you.
okay,
Um,
so I'm okay then. Okay, I thought I was feeling bad because I couldn't really announce the location yet, but
No, I
that
would totally
what you said
start. Just
here.
be like, we've got a space. Like, I have to make it. There's some, like, you can say, like, there's some, financial barriers, but we've got a place and here's about where it is. You can just tell people about the space that you want, even. Just be like, this is where I'm gonna try to hold the school, sell them that.
Miss Katie, I want to say I thank you. I really appreciate that 10 deal thing you put up because I think it's time for me to make my reel.
Yeah, it's totally time. I
absolutely,
love
so
it.
helpful.
You
Yes,
should,
ma'am. Thank you.
yeah, of course. You should tag Prendelearn when you do it, and I'll reshare your post and
Really?
like I'll
Okay.
help. Yeah, if you guys tag at Prendelearn anytime, I'm happy to like repost like on our stories just to get more eyeballs. So yeah, happy to share, comment to teach that algorithm that's important. Happy to be an advocate for you.
And Miss Whitney, thank you so much for making this possible because I really needed this support today.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm so happy it's useful. The other thing I was going to say as well too is I know you're not from the community, but I think whoever you know, whoever can be your evangelist, whoever can vouch for you. I mean, word of mouth, if we're talking about the funnel, word of mouth is the easiest conversion point and the cheapest conversion point for any student.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
Hmm. Well, great.
Uh,
I'm so happy to have you join. We had one last question, Katie, if you don't mind, if you're okay with it. They were asking about, they didn't necessarily follow the foundational suggestions, and they said, do you think that I should just redo this, all of it, or I can build from where I last have left off on my Facebook and Instagram?
you can totally just start building again. There is, if you're just trying to build a community like locally, that's going to be fine. If you were trying to build a big following, sometimes an account, the algorithm will kind of like count an account as dead. So if you like haven't posted anything for 6 months, it's really hard to get the algorithm to start paying attention to you again. But if you're just trying to do like local stuff, like it really shouldn't get in your way. So kind of depends on what you want there. And you can always go back, like if your account, you like your name, like it's all set up good, just go delete anything that doesn't like fit with your vibe anymore or that's inaccurate. Do those 10 posts and then you have 15 posts or like whatever was left, like people like a really fun experiment is like go find the person on Instagram that you love the most and just scroll way, way back in their feed and you'll be like, oh, their first 500 posts were about working out and now they write like raps about moms, right? Like you can
Yep.
definitely like, make the transition. So
You can
shouldn't
see the
shouldn't get
journey.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we'll leave it at there. I want to be respectful of your time and everyone else's. So thank you so much for joining us, Katie. You're an all-star. So many great tips. Thank you so much. Remember, you can tag Prenda Learn. That's really great to share. You can also tag Microschools Network. We're happy to also share your content too. Um, please join us. I forgot to say, it's Microschools Week. Happy Microschools Week to everyone, which we started for the exact reason for the algorithm to share, to get more eyeballs on microschools all around the world so people get to know more about it. So if you haven't already, hashtag Microschools Week. You can start posting, you can easily jump on. We'll be sharing, and then some of our other key colleagues and partners are also going to be sharing content all related to microschools. So we recommend doing that. And next month as well, in a month, Mitchell Slater, he's also is going to be talking a bit about enrollment, managing attrition, and he's also a really great resource in terms of fundraising, um, in so many different things. So that's going to be a great session. And next week, dun dun dun, we have our international conference coming out. So if any of you want a last minute ticket, we've got a few coming. Katie was so wonderful last year at our conference. So it's gonna be a great event. We're really looking forward to it. And with that, I will say thank you again, Katie, and thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, Whit. See you guys
Take
later.
care.